The COVID-19 pandemic brought about significant setbacks, but it also did bring opportunities for individuals and organizations to prove themselves. A number of tech startups experienced their own challenges, but those who could grab opportunities survived and played critical roles for the economies. The pandemic challenged the creation and survival of some startups, limiting their growth, but innovative firms reacted quickly and preferred flexible solutions as countries made the fast shift to digital work and helped incorporate technology into major services and structures. Our guest is Sortur, founder of Square Circle Global, and he discusses how best startups can take advantage of opportunities in these trying times.
All right, so Sami, welcome to Tech Trends.
Hey, thank you, Fred. Thanks for the invitation. I'm happy to be here.
Awesome. So how would you describe the effect of the pandemic on technology startups in general?
So I think when the pandemic started, early February, mid-March, actually no one was prepared, okay? Leave alone the technology startups. Most of the startups who were growth stage or going from from a seed to a growth stage were actually looking at a solid growth opportunity in 2020. And when the pandemic hit, they were really not very well prepared for a long runway. While as some of the growth companies, including the unicorns, were really wanting to stretch their geographical limits, and basically because of the pandemic they had to soften their plans or take a back seat on their plans, reconfigure their businesses and look at a much more leaner business model to help them survive, preserve their runway for a long-term 12 to 18 months. In our region specifically, which is the GCC region, what we noticed is in 2 to 3 months post the pandemic, when really we were seeing that some of the e-commerce and fintech startups were doing extremely well, exponentially well. The other startups which were in tech-enabled businesses were suffering. Okay, so that's where it took. But personally, some of the traditional businesses who tried to come on the e-commerce bandwagon also were preparing their back-end engines to come and join the complete e-commerce race, but their preparedness was not there, and suddenly they thought their retail revenues would suffice, but none was the case, and hence a lot of large retail chains had to actually shut down. We've seen many large retail chains shut down because they were not able to become digital very quickly, and the e-commerce and fintech, because everybody started ordering home, lockdowns and everything else, that made them extremely popular. Quick service restaurant type of things, home delivery businesses did well. Fintech businesses, remittance became one of the hot topics. Remittance businesses did extremely well, and new business models have arisen during the pandemic.
Government in the GCC region, UAE and the rest of them, are quite responsive when it comes to change around the startup ecosystem. Did you notice any kind of support to the startups to continue building this period?
So there were few stimulus packages announced, Fred, on supporting SMEs and startups. But given the bureaucracy, or I wouldn't say bureaucracy, given the approval and the deployment of funds involved, the end customer, which is the startup, the beneficiary, for them to actually get those stimulus packages took over 6 months. And by the time if they didn't have enough cash to burn, they had either lost the market opportunity or had to look at other sources of funding. While we are now seeing that there is higher impetus on actually funding locally. Now government is more proactive in bringing new grant programs, and they have seen during the last difficult 10 months that really we need to start creating a supporting ecosystem that involves funds, grants, market access, and so some of the programs like Dubai Chamber does a fantastic market access program. Hub 71 does a great, with WeWork, does a market access program. Some of the accelerators we are actually collaborating with, they want us to take the local startups into the global framework. So that is started happening now, and they want to create more awareness into the very early stage programs so that interesting startups or very innovative startups can be built from the GCC region to the global market.
As an ecosystem leader, are there certain startups or verticals that you will place a bet on in a post-COVID world?
You mean some of the verticals I would recommend?
Yes, you place a bet on or recommend, yeah.
Okay. I would place my bets on mostly SaaS startups, B2B startups who are in the field of healthcare or life sciences. This is number one priority. And we have seen even accelerator programs like Dubai Future Accelerator and other funds are actively funding startups in the healthcare, health tech, life sciences segment. So number one would be life sciences. The second trend or the second big bet we would place is around fintech. We have seen at Founder Institute in cohort 1, we had 50% of our cohort focused on fintech. That includes blockchain and other mechanisms to enable the gig economy or contactless payment frameworks. Okay, so even our fellowships which we had given had 3 founders were in the fintech space. So fintech is number 2, health tech is number 1. Okay, so these are some of the things, and this is all tech-enabled platforms, traditional businesses into tech-enabled. So I would recommend businesses who are looking at growing at a faster pace very quickly to address the global market. This platform is very welcome, and this ecosystem is very welcome for them. Going forward if we did a small foresight study for them, and going forward in the next 5, 10, 15, and 20 years, the shipping routes are going to change, which are mostly going to be through Africa. So I think there is a lot of investment in terms of infrastructure, but also tech-enabled infrastructure so that you can lay smart, it could be smart cities, creation of smart cities and things like that. Yeah. So a very good combination for startups who are targeting smart cities type of solutions. This combination of a parent company based in the UAE, targeting the African market where the pilots are going on different smart city solutions, port management, vehicle tracking, and things like that could actually be achieved. So yeah,
wow,
we have access to these kind of stakeholders as well here, and happy to kind of.
Yeah, there's certainly room for collaboration. So let's hope that ecosystem leaders like you in various African countries can come together and make magic happen going forward. Samir, thank you for being on the show today. Really great talking with you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Fred. Thank you very much.